today's MercArt studio. Today we are going to use one design and use it in 3 different ways. So shall we get started? The design we are going to use is going to be this little heart. It is February, so usually everything is circling or concentrating on hearts. We are going to do one metal embossing card. Then we will do, well, we're actually going to do 2 metal embossing cards, but one will have some colored aluminum in with the pewter. And for that, we are going to need our basic tools, which is going to be a hard surface, or the I'm most probably going to use my tile, as well as a soft surface and the paper pad. We're going to use basic tools. You're going to need a stylus, or you can use your Teflon tip tool as a stylus, a paper stump, and for finishing off the one, I'm going to use a ruler, as well as I can either use my pencil or the Teflon tool with it. And we're just going to do blackening using a water-based marker. We're going to use some glue, some Suquan tape, and just something to cut the tape with. So this can work as well. And then for the last card, so we're going to do greeting cards. For the last one, I'm going to use embossing powder. So you're also going to need a heat gun. And you're going to do a Versamark. I have the pen today, but you can also use the ink pad if you have one. This is a piece of scrap tissue paper that I have, a piece of handmade, store-bought handmade paper. And yeah, and then our cards that we are going to use as our substrate. So, and I'm going to use one of these old bunches just to do a little border around. I took my design and I have more or less centered it on to the pewter, and the pewter is a 3 by 3 inch size. And again, I've marked my back, so I've taped it onto the front. And now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace it. And for tracing, you can use either a pencil, a pen, you can use your stylus. It doesn't matter, whatever you are feeling comfortable with. And I'm using a paper pad, and there I just gone off the line. I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm going to trace the small little hearts on the inside. So for this one, what I think I'm going to do is I will actually cut out the heart. So I'm not really going to do anything to the heart itself. I might just do some background on it for the inside of the heart. And I'm just removing my design now. I'm going to fill the heart with little squiggles in the background, and I'm just going to go random. I'm going to do, no, I think I'm rather going to go in with my Teflon tip tool, yeah. And maybe let me just see if I work on my paper pad. Actually, I think I prefer working on the paper pad. I do not apply as much pressure now as what I did when I was working straight onto the on the hard surface, but I just find that I do get a better design if I work on here. So all I'm doing is I'm filling in the whole background. What you can do, if you feel this is bunching up, I don't really know what else to call it, but bunching up too much, you can just come in with your roller and you can just give it a quick roll, and that will be on the hard surface from the front and the back, and then working back onto your paper pad. If you feel that you had enough pressure or your design looked good using or doing this on the hard surface, you don't need to come on the paper pad. You can just stay with the working on the hard surface completed. So next step is going to be and I think I'm going to do the diamonds. Yeah, I'm just going to use the thin diamond texture wheel. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to go on the line and work with that. So I'm still working on my paper pad, and with the texture wheel I'm just going to go forward and backwards, forward and backwards, forward and backwards, forward and backwards. I'm going to pop those 3 small little hearts out, so that is going to be high relief, and once that is done we will add some red to those hearts. The way that I'm going to pop the hearts is not the traditional way of doing high relief. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on a soft surface, and I'm just going to outline the design or retrace the design. So the little heart, and as you can see, it already starting to pop. And then I'm going to come back onto my hard surface, and I'm going to use a paper stump, and I'm going to start pushing the access pewter or the raised pewter back into the little heart. And there it is popped. So from there, the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to use my slanted Teflon tip tool, and I'm just going to go around, and I can get close to the heart, the design, and I'm going to flatten my pewter around it. Made a little bit of a pop there, and that was just because, okay. And next I'm going to come in with my Teflon tip tool, and I'm just going to refine the heart. If you want to, you can still pop it from the back. If you want to have it a little bit higher, turn it around onto a soft surface and pop it a little bit more, but I think I'm satisfied with the way that it looks like this. I'm quickly going to do the other 2 as well. As I was working here, I've just noticed that using the paper stump, I did not completely, you can still see it, but I just want to go and reline it and try and go on the same lines. If I can't, there will be sort of doubles, but that would be fine. So now I know next time when I do that, I will first pop the hearts, and then I will come in and do that. That's how we learn. Okay, and oh, now that looks way more prominent than these ones. Oh no, let me just do a couple more here. Apart from adding a bit of color to the heart afterwards and doing the blackening, our first heart is done. So we're going to move on to the second one. For the second metal embossing heart, I've also taped my heart onto the pewter, and again I've taped it onto the back of the front of the pewter. You can't just see my mark there, but I did mark the back. And for this one, I'm going to retrace the heart again, but this time I'm not going to retrace the inside hearts. I'm just going to do the outside one, and the reason for that is we're going to cut out this whole heart, and I will do something with it later on for another project, but for now we just need the shape of the heart. And next is once we have that, I'm going to tape the same design onto the but I've taped this one like it's never going to come loose. So I'm going to tape the same design, the colored aluminum. They're so nice to work with, but sometimes when you get them from the suppliers, they already have these little marks on, and there's absolutely nothing one can do about that. So I'm just going to center it. And for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to trace the inside, the three inside little hearts, because once we have cut out the heart here, we will be placing it over this one. So let me just take this off. So this one, the copper aluminum, colored aluminum, will show through the pewter. I'm first going to work on the copper aluminum, and I'm going to do exactly the same with these three hearts. I'm going to pop them, and then from there I'll go onto the heart surface. Again, I'm going to rub or to move the excess of the aluminum into this heart so that it can just raise it. So I'm basically pushing it in there. Then I will come in with the Teflon tool, flatten that little rim that it makes around it. And refine with the stylus. So I'm going to do exactly the same with the other two as well. Now that these hearts is done, I think for the rest what I'm going to do is just randomly I am going to add some hearts, a couple of hearts around these ones. This heart, as I said, this is going to be cut out, so I'm going to be focusing on the outside of the heart, or the rim of the heart, and I think I just want to flatten this out. And so I'm going to go crisscross from the one corner to the other corner, and I'm just going to take my stylus and I'm going to draw a line through. That's all I'm going to do. And I'm actually wondering, yeah, no, I think I'm going to stick with this. So now I'm going to space this, and this is where this ruler comes in so handy. I'm going to put it onto the line there, the line, and then I'm going to draw my next line. And I will continue on until everything has been lined up here. And then once I've done with this side, I will turn my pewter around and I will start from the opposite side. If you don't have a handy dandy ruler like this, you can make yourself, just draw a line on your ruler or make a mark on something. The whole idea is just so that you can get your spacing even when you do this. I've completed the one side, and I'm just going to give it a quick roll with my roller on both sides. And I was working on the front of the pewter, and now I'm just going to take the same ruler and I'm going to work from to the opposite sides. And again, I'm just going to draw my line and move the ruler. Again, once I complete it on that side, I'm going to turn it around, and then I will start doing exactly the same from this side until I reach the end there. I've done all this, and now I'm just going to use my diagonal, or not, the straight line, and I'm just going to work forward, backward, forward, backward, forwards and backwards, just to give it a design or a to frame it, just so it can look neat and tidy. And once we are going to put this onto our card, and when I do like this, it's always try to do parallel first. Just gives you a better finish, because then you know it's sort of the same lines will be on top. I'm going to do the same on this side. And I did notice the lines sort of the heart disappeared a little bit, so I think I'm just going to go in and retrace it so that I can see where to cut, and there you can see your design again. Something else I think I would like to do is just to accentuate all those little where they connect the little lines, and I'm going to use I think this is a number 2 ball and cup tool for that. Now I'm going to work on the front of the pewter, because I don't want it to be raised. I just want to have it a little bit more definition. So I'm going to use, actually, you know what, I think I'm going to go back and use it on the paper pad. Just as a little bit too much. Yeah, used it on the soft surface. It was just a little bit too much for me. But there you can see how it looks, and it definitely makes a little bit of a difference when you look at the design. All done, and I'm just quickly going to give it a quick roll. Oh, now that I look on the opposite side, it actually looks very nice on the back side as well. If you can see, then it's more like a embossing kind of line with the little dot, a raised dot. But yeah, no, I'm still going to keep with this side. I have my dry needle cutter, and I'm just going to, and I have my piece of glass that I use, and I'm just going to start, going to put it in and I'm going to start cutting. And when you do cut, always cut towards yourself in small stretches. There is another video that shows in detail all the tips and the tricks for when you are using a dry needle cutter. I will link it below in this video. Okay. As well, all the tools that I'm using in this video, as well as the supplies, will be listed in the description. So you can just always head on over to the description if you're not sure which tool was used for what, and you will find it there. Okay, so looks like this is all cut out. And you know what, I was just thinking now, I should have put my Sukwon tape on first. That would have been a brighter idea, Esme. Yes, you know what, I'm going to stop and I'm quickly going to put my Sukwon tape on. And that's one of the things I always say, make sure you have your tape on before you use your dry needle cutter, because it just makes life so much easier. Oh. It goes back to that saying where they always say, practice what you do as I say and don't do as I do, or something like that. I'm not even sure. Just get this out here and then I can just quickly cut this away. And then we will go back cutting again. I'll just cut through that part there again. Just smooth this and just make sure it gets a good adhesion. Okay, and back onto the glass. Just move that out the way. Back onto the glass. This one will go easy. And now we're just going to cut towards ourselves again in short stretches. And I'm basically just cutting through the tape now because I've already cut through the pewter. Just go back in and cut again and move your pewter rather than what you're trying to cut at a really different angle or difficult angle. And it looks like everything has been cut through. Yes. Oh, there's still a part. And there, our heart has been cut out. Our heart is cut out, and I'm just going to put that aside, and I'm just going to roll here. Just to see like I can neaten it a little bit using this tool. And let's just see how it looks on here. Okay, so I think I'm going to do that. I'm using the straight line or the horizontal line, and I'm on a paper pad. And I'm just going forward, backwards, and I'm sort of halfway off the heart. And I'm just moving around. I'm just trying to catch to make this little rim a little bit neater from the cutting edge. And by doing this, I'm actually pushing it down so it looks neat and tidy rather than what you have these pieces sort of standing up. I'm just going slowly all around. Yeah, this definitely looks way neater and tidier than what this other side. Look, if you can look, there's still some of the Sukwon tape that's hanging out there, but look at the difference. See how neat and tidy this looks. It just looks well done or worked off. That's the word I'm looking for. Where this one is just like, oh no, that still needs something. So you're tidying it up as well as you give it a nice little frame that you can use. Okay, so I think we can move on to our next step, which is, so I think I'm first going to do the blackening and then I'm going to put it on here. I'm not going to do blackening on here. So for blackening, I'm using a water-based permanent marker, and I'm just going to go over my design, color it in. And this is the reason why I have added wax to the little hearts, because if I didn't add the wax and you go in with this and you start removing it or polishing the blackening away, you will flatten it. So now with the beeswax being in at the back, I don't need to worry about that. And again, for this step, it's personal choice how much of the blackening you would like to take off, how much you would like to leave on. And work in one direction when you remove it. I think this one is good enough. Oh, I really like this one. And we're also going to give it a pop of. For this one, in hindsight, I should have done the blackening before I actually cut the heart out. I don't know why I didn't think about that. But it's done now, it's cut out. I mean, there's nothing wrong doing it now. It just, you have these little points to keep in consideration, where if the heart was still in, it was one go and it was over and done with. So let's just go in here and just make sure we don't fold over and break the truck and everything. So, hey. And I'm going to do exactly the same here. I'm going to use it. Come in with our paper pad, our paper towel, and we're just going to start wiping it away. So once this is done, I sometimes come in and just give it a little bit of a polish. You don't really need to do that, and I don't always do that either. It is just, you know, it all depends on the project I'm busy working with. But because this is going to be on greeting cards, and greeting cards is usually nice and shiny. So there's different things that you can use for this. I'm just going to use my Sharpies. You can also use alcohol inks to pop the red onto the hearts. I would like to sand away the hearts here to expose the silver, and again I've also filled these ones with the beeswax, and I'm just going to come in with a sander and I'm going to sand the hearts, because this is the colored aluminum. It's got the color on the one side and it's got the silver color on the opposite side. So it's basically a color plating or a color coat that they've put on. And it's really or fairly easy to sand away. And I usually buy these sanding blocks at the hardware store. And then I just cut them up into different sizes. Let's just have a look here to see. Oh, that looks not bad. Okay, and I'm just going to use this and wipe this off to get rid of all the sanding dust. So I'm going to add sequin tape to these two quickly. And then once that is done, we can start assembling the metal embossing cards and move on to the one that we're going to use, the embossing powder. Yeah, the sequin tape really works very nice when you are doing greeting cards or things like scrapbooking. It's really nice. The next step is we are going to adhere this one on top of that one to expose the copper below. And just line it up as best as what you can. And make sure you go into and there our first one is completed. Okay. And I'm quickly going to cut out this heart. So this will be a standalone heart on the card. I was contemplating if I must put something underneath it or not, and I decided no, I'm just going to do that. I might just come in and stamp two little hearts on the card. For the next one, I have a little piece of this is a Tim Holtz's tissue paper, and I'm just going to go more or less mark where is 3 inches, because that is about the size where our heart is going to fit on. And now I just need to go in. I haven't worked with these things for so long, but the other day I saw somebody using it, a friend of mine, and was thinking, oh, I can use this. And you just line it up and you punch it. Very flimsy. Doesn't matter. Oh, it didn't punch through. And I know then you need to line it up with the design here, and then you get the continuous design. Shows us we need to use our things more often that we are using, that we have our tools that we have, and not just let it just lie down in the cupboards. And punch, and let's see where that gets us to. Oh yeah, it worked. My corners doesn't look too great, but it will do for now. I think I would like to do this a little bit smaller, and this the red one. So I'm using one of these little water pens. I just find it works so easier to tear this paper. Why I'm going to trace this differently is because now I would like to transfer the heart on there, and the best way to do that is, like, you know, back in school days, you just go in with a pencil and you scratch on the back. You can still do this freehand as well, the heart, but just because I want to show that it's exactly the same design, that you can use 3 different ways. That's why I would like to trace it. if it wasn't for that, I most probably just would have gone in and do it freehand. Okay, I think that is straight enough. Just going to tack it there, and I'm going to trace the hearts. And always when you are tracing something like this, leave it attached on the one side and just open it and see if everything has been traced properly or transferred properly. Can't really see those little hearts. Okay, yep, no, they look good now. Okay, I'm going to use the pen, and I'm just going to reline the heart. Grab a piece of cardboard that has been covered with aluminum foil. I'm just going to go in. And, ooh, there you go. Oh, it's more like a pinkish color. I don't really know if I like this. Looks almost now like, oh well, it works. It just needs something else. I really think it needs something else. I found this, it's silver glittery, and it says it's embossing powder and what's in with my embossing powder. So let's see if it is embossing powder, and let's see how this works. So I'm going to do another, I don't know if you can use embossing. I've never tried this. So if this does not work, then we'll go back and just do it on a line next to this one. Oh yeah, this looks so much better. Oh yeah, it makes, oh, this makes a huge difference. Absolutely. Okay, now I'm going to move on. Time to assemble. So this one, I think I have this stamp. This is the closest heart stamp that I have. My other ones are really small. And as I said, I don't have a lot of hearts because I wasn't really big into hearts for a very, very, very long time, not even at school. But I'm going to pop this one down about here. Just clean my stamp here. And then I will close this up, get that out of the way, get this one going. Just let this heart, and there is our first card done with our design. So what I did as well, I sprayed some sealer on this one as well as this one, just to seal them. So the first card is done. Next one is coming up. So again, it is just removing our sequin tape, and from there we are just going to put it onto our card. Just line it up, and I think this one I'm just going to put more or less in the center. I'm not picking up a ruler to measure again. I don't know if you've seen that video that I uploaded where I just, for the life of me, I just could not center that things on the canvas. It was like, oh no, this is not happening. So eyeballing is what is working. So the second one is done, and now it is just going and completing the last one. This one, the background, the texture on this card is music, and so I thought I'll use it with this one here. And what I do is I just do a whole lot of cards, blank cards at one go, and then they are ready and handy for when I need to make cards. So this, I think I'm just going to use the glue, and there's movement on the glue, so I'm just going to dab some on here. And I'm not going right up until the edges. I'm just working sort of in the center and leave a perimeter around the outside. And again, I'm just going to eyeball this. And the last one is going to be this one. I'm going to move on to a different glue, and I actually just realized I've used this tissue paper so much, but I've never glued it down unless I use it with sequin tape. So I'm going to use this and just ran a thin strand of this glue right there where the embossing powder is. And where the 3 little hearts is. And attach that to the card. And there we are, all done. And there is our 3 little, let's put it this way, and there is our 3 little designs. Well, same design, and we have 3 different looking cards with our using the same design. We started off with the one little heart design, and we ended up with 3 greeting cards, 3 different greeting cards using exactly the same design. I hope this has given you some inspiration to think sort of outside the box with the designs that you already have on, you know, how can I use it differently? Because we tend to, I do, I don't know if you do the same, but we tend to use it for more or less the same things over and over again. But really go outside the box, try it, something different, something completely different, because this is a design I would usually use with metal embossing, and I've just decided, you know what, I can do it with paper crafts too. And again, I was just thinking glitter, you can use this with glitter as well. So I really hope you've enjoyed spending time with me in the studio today. And as always, remember, the world of reality has its limits, but the world of imagination is boundless.